Hi, my name is Recca Trice. I'm a clinical research data specialist, and I work for Harrington Heart and Vascular Institute. I basically put all the data in for structural heart studies, whether they're surgical or TAVRs, which is in the cath lab. I make sure that the physicians know exactly what they're going to be doing that day as far as different research studies, because they're working with different TAVRs, they're working with different anatomical procedures. So I'll make sure they know like what's going into the data. I'm looking through uploading images, like to make sure all images, the most recent images are uploaded for each of the physicians and the research coordinators. I also need to make sure that when I'm putting in the data that all of the numbers match up, because the numbers that say we have a 2.2 centimeters, I have to have 2.2 centimeters as well in the data. So we have to make sure that all of the data that we see as it comes through, that it matches, because that's what we need to see what's getting better or getting worse. I love TAVRs. Okay, so trans aortic valve replacement. That's what TAVR stands for, TAVR. And basically, it's not just the aorta. You can do the mitral valve. It's a little complicated, but aortic valves are more popular. And what they do is they replace your valve. It can be done surgically, or it can be done with a catheter. So we love catheters because they're less invasive, but don't tell the surgeons I said that. Yeah, but that's how it works. And so when they come in with different type of mitral regurgitation or aortic regurgitation or any type of problem with their valve, we replace it with a small little cath, a little split, and no open chest or anything. So in undergrad, I majored in biology with a minor in chemistry. I wasn't sure, I did a lot of wet lab research, not necessarily clinical research. So I didn't know how to really get into the community, like actually see patients, because you're always around mice and agar plates and things that you don't get to see. What are you doing? Like, where's the end result go? So when I came to Case and I got into the master's program, a lot of people graduated and went into clinical research because they could see it structurally, but they can also see the actual patients. So that's what I really wanted to get into, actually seeing patients every day and then seeing, oh, it actually works. This is actually helping them, and it's also helping research in the future. Clinical research is so important to me because of my background. I come from Oakland, California, which is kind of underprivileged area, and people don't know that you could actually do research. You can get paid to do research, and you can also be part of the change. And I think, especially in my community, the Black community, we don't really know, wow, it's scary because you don't know, what are they gonna try to do to me? Am I a subject? Am I just, a science project? But when I talk to people, especially that look like me, it's like, they're like, wow, I can be part of this. I can actually be part of change. And that's what I really love about it. That's why it's so important to me, because it's we need more Black people to be in research because of the causes that we have, because of the diagnosis that we have, and how we lead in certain diseases. So that's why I specifically like cardiovascular research. The most rewarding part about being in clinical research would definitely have to be when they wake up in the bed of the hospital and they're like, wow, I feel great. Because you don't think you're actually gonna see it instantaneously, oh my God, it's a miracle. But really with structural heart, with TAVRs, you really do see them get up and they're like, wow, they just feel better. They're not as tired, not as fatigued. So that's what really makes me happy. Seeing that. That's the best reward, is actually seeing the actual change. And they come back for 3-month follow-up, 6 months follow-up, 30 days, I'm gonna say 30 days follow-ups. And that's seeing them I'm doing great, I'm enjoying retirement. It's just this is what we like to see, is people actually seeing the results from what the physicians have done. It has to be my team, because I think that UH is always constantly teaching, and it's not just the physicians. I learned so much from the nurses, from the other research coordinators, from the other data specialists. My director, she's very hands-on. She wants to make sure she's putting everybody in a place not just to learn, but to do the job and care for the patients. I've been in other clinical research areas where I've got to see where the team environment's just not the same, especially getting to know everybody, having each other's back, making sure the patient comes first. And I think one thing I will give UH is not only with the diversity that my director brings in, but we actually love each other. We care about the patient. We're all trying to figure out the best way, ripping and running, trying to make sure the patient gets what they need. And it's a trust, because if you have trust within your team, it's better for your patients to trust us. I think humanities, journalism, those type of majors are people I've met even applying to med school, applying to just being a research scientist because they like to write, so they're good at writing journals for science. So I don't think it really doesn't matter what you major in. If you all of a sudden have this love for patients, that's what can bring you into research. Again, it's not really about what you major in. It's about what is your goal. What do you care for? What's your like deepest in your heart? Like, what do you care for? And I think people get into majors and think I have to do this to do this, but really you can major in one thing as long as it's what your heart is into. And that's one thing, like, even if you're not biology, if you're not a STEM major at all, I've met so many humanities majors, philosophy majors, they just had a change of heart with everything going on in the world. As long as you care about people, like people, humans, human beings, whether they're tiny humans, old humans, you have to have a care for that to do this role, no matter what you major in. I was very surprised by the administrative staff in our research department because you would think, oh, they're just here for the doctors to answer the phones, to do this, make sure they're scheduled, but they actually have to call and listen to patients call them every day. And I think people think, oh, I'm being an admin role behind the computer, but you actually have to talk to the patient. Sometimes they call when they talk to the doctor because they've decided I don't want to do this procedure anymore. So you, as an admin staff, which I love our whole HHVI admin staff, I love every single one of those ladies because they help us with getting things smoothly because patients will call them and wonder, I don't want to do this anymore, I do want to do this, you know what I'm saying? So they have to be patient with them and care and make sure they know where you're in the best care. This is what we want you to do, this is what you want to do. So you have to also look at those type of roles because they're really important. Like, patients talk to them all the time. And finance, research finance, shout out to them because they also do the contracts so patients can get paid to do research. Like, that helps a lot of patients too that are in low socioeconomic areas. They try to get here. They need a bus pass. They need help parking. They need money to even get here to do, they want to do the study. You know, they're trying to learn. So that's like, shout out to research finance because I didn't know. You're definitely helping us because patients will definitely do research when they get paid. I feel like the community itself would blossom and bloom so much in more well-renowned research if we had more participation. I don't want people to be scared about research. I want them to be informed because everything is not for everybody. And I do want people to know, especially in our community of Cleveland, in the Cleveland area, that you really can just try it out, get the information, make sure you trust your doctors and see about it. You would have to always think about the patient because I think people think, oh, research, I'm gonna try to come up with this new thing, or I'm gonna use the newest, technology or inventions or the new drug studies that are coming out, but you really have to want to care about the patient because at the end of the day, those are the ones that make our research better. If you really want to see change, if you want to really be a part of change, you want to be a part of something big, because I think as we're growing up, we're trying to find ourselves, figure out what we want to do. Any type of research, clinically, you will be making a change. And I think if that's something you want to be a part of, then clinical research is for you. I can't tell you what kind of clinical research, but I'm saying being a part of research, you're really actually helping the future. If you really want to make a difference, and you can honestly take over yourself and coordinate your own research, after a while, that's something you should think about doing, because I would love for the future to be a part of the change. And if that's what you're into, then you should do it.